The first known bicycle created was called a swift walker. It was developed in 1817 for simple and easy transport. The bicycle was first introduced with a wooden beam for the frame, but towards the late 1800s was introduced with thick steel tubing as frames. The steel tubing was strong but also heavy. The more modern bicycles that we tend to use today use thinner, hollow steel tubing made of also aluminium, titanium, and carbon fiber. For developing countries, wood is usually the primary source for survival. This means that the principal use for wood in developing countries is cooking food and keeping warm. However, from this use, it is a very strong material that many developing countries turn into shelters because of its strength. Wood is an extremely appropriate alternative towards creating a bicycle. It is extremely strong, can withstand the sun and rain, unlike other materials that are being examined where the sun and rain make them brittle. Wood can range in densities from 0.16 balsa to higher densities such as 1.33 lignum vitae. Because of this range, the sort is to be considered when creating the frame for the bicycle. The strength of wood is extremely interesting as compared to materials such as steel. Steel has a very uniform inner structure which make it isotropic. This means that they behave the same way no matter in what direction you apply force to it. Wood is different. Because of its inner structure having an annual ring and grain structure, you could easily bend a tree branch in half. However, when it comes to pushing and pulling, it is usually much more difficult, if not impossible, to try and make it break. The strength of wood can precisely be determined as it is anisotropic, which means that wood has different properties in different directions. Compressive strength of wood is extremely good, so when talking about creating a bicycle out of it, it is a very good component to be considering. When placed in the same direction of the grain, wood can withstand a much greater weight than what it itself weighs. However, when placed horizontally and a large force applied, we have a different outcome. All this is to be considered with how the structure of frame of the bicycle will act when under load to ensure that it does not collapse when being ridden or help transporting heavy goods. Wood is also extremely durable, so when making a bicycle, you know that you won't have to make another one for a considerably long time if looked after correctly. It is also an environmentally friendly component, as wood is not a man-made substance. No harmful chemicals will be emitted if burned, and it also can be found anywhere. In summary, wood is an alternative for creating a bicycle as it is widely used in third world and first world countries. It also has an extremely large weight tolerance when structured to go along with the grain.
Thank you, Angus. When people think of magnesium, they associate it with fire making and the beautiful white light that it emits when set alight. Therefore, generally magnesium is not recognized as a viable metal for structural use. But what people don't realize is that magnesium is the second most abundant compound in the form of magnesium oxide. This occupies 35% of the Earth's crust. And as an element, it fills 2.33% of the Earth's crust, being the seventh most abundant element. It is also the third most common metal behind aluminium and iron. Aluminium and iron stand as some of the most common materials used in manufacturing of bike frames due to the materials being accessible. Since magnesium is close to aluminium in both accessibility and the periodic table, magnesium can be used in similar situations where aluminium is used. Some of the reasons that magnesium would be a good bike frame is because it has low density. It's the lightest of all the structural metals. Compared to aluminium, which is known for being a lightweight metal, which has a density of... Compared to aluminium, which is known for being a lightweight metal, and which has a density of 2.7 grams per cubic centimeter, magnesium only has a density of 1.74 grams per cubic centimeter, which means it's 2/3 of the density of aluminium. Magnesium is also stiffer than aluminium because it has a higher strain value. Aluminium has a strain value of 2.42, whereas magnesium has a value of 4.44, which is almost twice the stiffness that can become almost triple with some alloys that are being developed. So magnesium is stiffer, lighter, and stronger than aluminium. So why isn't every bike using magnesium? Well, more and more bikes are moving to magnesium, but some major problems have arisen from bikes that don't use the correct alloy. Originally, the alloy that was used in bike frames was too brittle, so there was a high possibility that the material would fail, leading to some unfortunate accidents, which lost trust in the material. But as manufacturing got better, it was easier to make a more stable frame that would not fracture, leading to a safer frame. Another problem was that it was hard to work. This meant that the cost would increase, making it more expensive and less accessible. Although the substantial cost of manufacturing increases the price to a point where it is only available to higher classes. If manufacturing could be improved so that the material could be cheaper to manufacture, a magnesium bike could be more accessible. In conclusion, magnesium is an abundant material that has the capability to be used in a bike frame. And now to hand it off to my cohort, Torrin, which will be talking about PVC.
Thank you, Daniel. Now we come to introducing polyvinyl chloride, or more commonly known as PVC. I believe it may be possible to use PVC to build the frame of a bicycle in the third world countries, as it is cheap, multi-purpose material that has been used throughout the world in many construction applications. To establish its viability, we must first investigate what PVC is and its viability to be used in our discussed application. PVC is a multi-purpose thermoplastic which tends to be used in most construction projects for conduit and drainage pipes. Being a thermoplastic, it can easily be heated and reformed. This allows for the material to be easily recycled from old materials to take a new purpose. By doing this, it not only reduces waste, but also allows for a cheap option in third world countries by reusing the scrap material. So, what are the properties of PVC? PVC is a polymer consisting of carbon, hydrogen, and chlorine. Being a polymer, it is a light material with a density of 1.3 grams per centimeter cubed, which will allow for a lighter construction than steel. PVC also has a high resistance to oxidization and can handle long-term use with little wear to overall material. While PVC is a lighter material, it also has a low elastic modulus of 3 to 3.3 gigapascals, meaning that the PVC would flex easily, giving an unstable frame design. In order to counteract the amount of flex, a supporting material would be required to reinforce the frame, but this could also increase the weight. PVC could be an appropriate alternative for bicycle frames in third world countries if it is reinforced. Without reinforcement, more material will be required and could become cumbersome and impractical. While maybe an alternative in third world countries, an appropriate reinforcing material has to be found that is easily accessible and can stabilise the frame before PVC can truly be a real world application. Overall, there are many materials that can be considered while designing a bicycle frame. In order to establish an appropriate material, many factors have to be considered by establishing the initial requirements and ensuring that the material meets the needs set. A fully functioning bicycle can be built at a low cost to be used in third world countries. By doing this, we can help to improve quality of life and further development where it may be needed the most.